Since the demise of his co-star and close friend Frank Fritz, American Pickers actor Mike Wolfe has been seen appearing depressed in the first images that have been released since the news of Fritz's passing. The death of Frank occurred on Monday, September 30th, when he was 60 years old. Frank had suffered a devastating stroke in July 2022, which rendered him wheelchair-bound and placed him under guardianship. The passing occurred 2 years after the stroke incident. Before his friend passed away in hospice care surrounded by loved ones, Mike, who was 60 years old, made a hasty trip from Tennessee to Iowa to be at his friend's side. Mike was able to be seen for the first time since Frank's passing on Wednesday, October 2 in his hometown of LeClaire, Iowa, in photographs that were obtained exclusively by the United States Sun. Mike spent the most of the day working on finishing up renovations on his vacation rental property in Iowa, which is called Two Lanes Guest House. Beth, Mike's sister, was spotted assisting her brother as he entered and exited the house to retrieve equipment and antiques from his vehicle. Beth was seen offering her assistance to her brother. Mike was in a more gloomy disposition than normal during the day, as evidenced by the fact that he kept his head down and barely smiled from time to time while he was working. He possessed a blue button-down shirt, jeans, and a hat in his wardrobe. In the later part of the day, he continued to work on the house while wearing a t-shirt that he had changed into. After an exhausting day of work, Mike went back to his house in Iowa for the evening. A home in Iowa of 3,168 square feet was purchased by the American Pickers star for the price of $180,000 in the year 2004. The residence is a duplex that has 2 stories, with an apartment located on the 2nd floor. The first story of the home is occupied by a business. In addition to having 2 garages, the building also has a back patio that is equipped with a wooden deck and offers views of the Mississippi River and Illinois in the distance. The building that houses the vacation rental was purchased by Mike in December 2021 for the sum of $300,000. It is 2,142 square feet in size. The house, which is 2 stories tall and was constructed in the year 1880, has 3 bedrooms, a basement, a fireplace, and a number of other amenities. The improvements that Mike did to the house were previously disclosed by the United States Sun. One of the renovations was painting the former off-white building on the property a dark green color with black trim. A stone fire pit that was just recently erected, a wooden porch with a contemporary black steel railing, and views of the Mississippi River can be seen in the backyard of the mansion. On Instagram, Mike has been providing his followers with updates regarding the renovation work. Additionally, Mike is the owner of a vacation rental that is situated in a building in Columbia, Tennessee that was constructed in the year 1857. Continuing on. Thursday was the day when Mike went back to his guest house. He appeared to be in a gloomy mood as he conversed with his buddies and members of the crew, and he ultimately started rearranging furniture. The reality personality, who has been going strong for a long time, wore a pair of damaged jeans, a black t-shirt, and brown boots. During the time when he was working on his property, he gave a friend a bear hug. Satellite moving on. On Tuesday morning, Mike made the announcement that Frank had passed away by posting a message on Instagram that stated, "It is with a broken heart that I share with all of you that Frank passed away last night." The message read, "I have known Frank for more than half of my life, and what you have seen on television has always been what I have seen. As a dreamer who was just as sensitive as he was witty, Frank has always been the same. Frank had the ability to touch the hearts of a great number of people simply by being himself, and he did this in the same way that he did on camera. In front of millions of people who were interested in our journeys, who would have ever imagined that we would be sitting in the same cockpit of a white cargo van. Before the show, we would take off together to places we never knew existed with no destination in mind, and just the shared passion to discover something interesting and historic. An Indian bow. He made his most recent appearance on American Pickers in an episode that aired in March of 2020. The back surgery that he underwent left him with 185 stitches and 2 rods in his spine, and he took some time off to recover from the procedure. In the 77 days that he was away from the show, he checked himself into a rehabilitation center in Iowa for alcohol addiction. Mike and Frank had a disagreement because Mike had not been asked to return to the show. Frank stated in an exclusive manner, "I haven't talked to Mike in 2 years. Despite the fact that he was aware that my back was infected, he did not call me to inquire about how I was doing. But that is the way things are. I have a feeling that Mike is trying to persuade his brother Robbie to take my place in the position. I am really perplexed as to why he is acting in such a manner toward me." Despite the fact that he had expressed his desire to come back to the series after his break, Mike revealed that he was officially terminated from his position in the year 2021. Following Frank's stroke, the two were eventually able to make amends with one another. Exercise in health. In July of 2022, Frank experienced a stroke when he was at home in Iowa. Due to the fact that Frank was taken to the hospital for pneumonia and a seizure on 4 separate occasions in 2022 and 2023, he was unable to recover from the stroke that he had suffered. Additionally, in August of 2022, Frank's close friends submitted paperwork to establish a conservatorship and guardianship for him. Frank's conservator was Midwestone Bank, and his close friend Chris Davis was his guardian. Additionally, Midwestone Bank was Frank's conservator. The documents that were obtained by the United States Sun stated that Mr. Fritz's decision-making capacity is so impaired as a result of his stroke that he is unable to care for his own safety or to provide for necessities such as food, shelter, clothing, or medical care, without which physical injury or illness may occur. According to the statement, Mr. Fritz's decision-making capacity is so impaired that he is unable to make, communicate, or carry out important decisions concerning his own financial affairs. During the time that Mr. Fritz is still recuperating and receiving treatment for his injuries, decisions need to be made regarding his care and placement. For the purpose of preventing immediate harm to him, it was determined that the appointment of a guardian and conservator was necessary. Frank's reconciliation. Due to the fact that a ramp was constructed outside of Frank's farm home in Iowa, he was permanently confined to a wheelchair after having a stroke. A source had earlier stated to the United States Sun that although he is able to walk, he will always require the wheelchair because he is unable to walk for extended periods of time. "You basically lose motion," she said. His mobility was lost. Stroke can affect either the left or the right side of the body. In this case, it afflicted the right side. "He's the same old Frank," the source remarked at the time, despite the fact that the insider insisted that Frank had never lost his endearing demeanor. "His demeanor is positive, and he possesses a wonderful sense of humor. Regularly, we make jokes to each other. As a result of you making the most of the circumstances, he has come to terms with everything that has happened. He has a good understanding of things, he is a cheerful person, and he has a good sense of humor." Then, during the last few months of his life, Frank's condition deteriorated. According to a source who spoke with the United States Sun exclusively, he has been bad ever since the stroke, and he had been getting worse. The right side of his body was completely immobile, the doctor said. He required care around the clock. He was not going to get better under any circumstances. He was home at the time. Due to the fact that Frank required skilled and long-term nursing care at the time, the conservator Midwestone ordered that Frank's finances be handed to them in July of 2024. A reminiscence of Frank. In an exclusive interview with the United States Sun, Chris Davis, who is also Frank's guardian and a close friend, disclosed the burial arrangements for the late History Channel star. "It is planned that in the future there will be a celebration of life. It is going to be really significant. Fans are welcome to attend. We already have a number of bands, including my own band, that are interested in participating in it. There is a good chance that this will take place in the spring." Chris continued by saying, "I will say that Frank loved his fans and that he passed away peacefully with friends by his side." Francis was a good friend of Chris's.